Hello, everyone. It's Chris Kelly here with the Fountain Report. Thanks for joining us today. We are joined by an esteemed guest, Gene O'Neill, the CEO of the NAVC, who we're really glad to have with us. Gene, welcome.
Hey, Chris.
Glad to have you here.
Hey.
Lots to talk about.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Well, congratulations on another successful VMX. What a way to kick off 2025. Gosh, I know there were over 30,000 people there. Did you ever think back in the COVID days that we'd be having this conversation, that you would be having that kind of an event just 4 or 5 years later?
Yes. I'm not going to say completely no, but we prepared for a long time about how do we get to that next level. And when I became the CEO, I knew we had the potential. We kept trying different things, but I think what helped us a little bit, hurt the industry was the COVID era. Coming out of that, I think people were just anxious to get back. Now, it just so happened to coincide with our 40th anniversary. So we wanted to really kick it in somehow. How are we going to get from that level that we were at, the 15, 16, 17,000? And I don't just, not just the incremental piece. How do we exponentially grow the business? How do we exponentially get the attendees there? If you think about it, there's roughly 400,000 veterinary professionals in the United States. If you take the top 5 conferences and all the other little ones, even if I overestimate, we're probably educating 100,000 a year. So where do the other 300,000 go, right? So we wanted to do something really different. And we were able to come up with a theme for that, the rollback theme for the 80s, because that's our first conference was back in the 83. So 2023 was our 40th anniversary. We came up with this aggressive pricing strategy, $125 for everyone, right? Which really caught fire with us. The exhibitors loved the idea. The sponsors loved the idea. They were a little cautious at first of jumping on board until the second year when we had our first year in 23. I think we had 23,000. And that was the exponential jump from the 16, 17,000. So the pricing strategy helped. Post-COVID helped. People wanted to get back. But now we're on this growth spurt, reaching 30,000 this past January. And we just don't see an end to what it could be. We have the space, right. We have the reach. I think we probably have the best marketing machine in the industry to reach different demographics. So I think that we just keep doing what we're doing and then some. Because if you've been to the VMX events, and I call them events, not a conference, because it's so much more than education. It is an event with all the stuff that goes on around it. This year with Kevin Costner, I mean, who would have thought? Kevin Costner at VMX, really? No, 5 years ago, I never would have said Kevin Costner at VMX. So things happen, and things happen for a reason. But we're always planning on what those are and taking advantage of those opportunities to do more and do something better for the attendees. So that's what I think it really comes down to, is the preparation that we go through every year. It's a year-long cycle for just that one event. And like I said, when it's over, it's a little disheartening because it goes so quick. You want it to come around again. But, doing more than one a year like that is that's a big ask.
Sure. So that's quite a journey. And it appears as though like conferences are becoming a very popular way for the industry to get together, kind of a reemergence, if you will. What do you think's behind that?
There's a couple of variables in there they have to deal with. One is just the camaraderie that you experience at a live event. And I don't care what size the event is. We went through that COVID period, which was really a test of how to conduct business not in person. And, some companies pass the test, some are, failing with it, and others are just mediocre with it. Well, anything that we do, we want to be the best at. We don't just want to be mediocre. So we were really prepared for that virtual piece. We had a 365 expo hall, virtual expo hall that rolled out in the COVID year, 2020. So we really saw that there was a potential to do something virtual. Now, COVID hit, so we were really prepared for that. But I think that when you walk around the halls of any event, especially VMX, a lot of stuff happens and a lot of things take place outside of the session rooms. So it's not just the learning you're there for, it's that socialization aspect. It's seeing all the new products that are coming out. This past
Sure.
January, we had 32 new products displayed in our new product gallery. We had 750 exhibitors. Now you can't do that virtually. You
Right.
got to be there in person. You got to touch and feel and talk to people and see what they're talking about, and really experience the magnitude of what's really there, which you really can't do in person. You really can't do virtually. You've got to be there in person. So I think that, combined with the wanting to get back out on the road to learn, people have different modalities on how they learn, right? Being in person at a live event is probably the number one. The fallback is virtual. There will always be a virtual learning experience. We just happen to capitalize on a live event.
Well, hats off to the NAVC. I know you continue to make investments, in other mediums around your show. You've got new events, Vetfolio, your publication. Talk about that ecosystem, what it looks like today, and what do you think that will look like in 5 years?
So I think if you look back just a handful of years, we were really built around the conference. So your listeners probably don't know a lot about what I did, but when I first came into NAVC, I was the CFO. And that was back in 2013. And the first thing I saw was all the eggs in one basket for the organization. And that was the conference at the time. We also do the hands-on workshops, now Skill Shop in Orlando in May. So those are the two events that we had. So just up to a couple of years ago, we were operating on 2 or 3 events. You throw in the Veterinary Innovation Summit, you got 3 live events. Well, I wasn't comfortable with the fact that we were putting all our eggs in one basket, because if that black swan event happens, or a snowstorm in the Northeast in January and attendees can't come down, I wanted to get more revenue streams going. So the investment in virtual learnings, in Vetfolio with certifications and webinars and podcasts, publications. Now we have 6 publications that go out every month or every other month. And then we have new live events. Again, we capture that idea that people want to learn. They all can't get to VMX. So what we did is we brought a little taste of VMX to them. And that's our Hive events. So
Right.
this year we have another 6 or 7 of those planned around the country. So we're trying to reach different audiences to tell them more about what they can expect to see from this industry in the future, not just what you see right now. So we've invested a lot in not just the live events, but in other things that other educational opportunities for any professional out there in the healthcare team to take advantage of. So it's really worked well. We've been very fortunate to be able to do that. So we're just taking advantage of it as we go. This is great. It's a great ride.
So I'm going to let you off the hook with just one last really easy question, which is,
Okay.
what's your one big prediction for this coming year in 2025?
The Mets are going to win the World Series. Yeah.
Do you want to rethink that?
No. I
Okay.
think with Juan Soto. So, no, listen. I think there's. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the impact that AI is going to have on the industry,
Sure.
all industries. But I'm hoping that there's more of an advancement of using AI beyond just taking notes in the clinics. I think there's much more opportunities to use AI enhanced equipment for precision veterinary medicine, where wearables, with collars, trackers, anything that can get to an earlier diagnosis of things, of diseases or ailments for the pet. I think that's going to help in the long run with access to care, with the cost of care. And I think that's from the practical standpoint. I think from the education standpoint, what I'd like to see is more use of virtual reality or augmented reality for students, because I think when you put them in a position where they can experiment in risk-free environments before they actually work on live animals, that just gets the motivation ball running, that I can do this, and let me do this.
I like all of it. And honestly, I think you're right. I think the industry is more geared towards accepting some of these new technologies like AI and applying it to their business. I think the more that they don't fear it and they envision it as a tool to help them be more productive, more effective, take better
Yeah.
care of animals, take
Yeah.
better care of themselves,
Right.
We all win.
Yeah. And that's why I go back to the in-person learning experience. You know, when you're visiting an exhibitor at their booth, show me what you have here and show me how to use this. Don't just sell it to me. Show me how I'm going to use this when I get back to my clinic on Monday. Yeah. So I think that's going to be a big part of AI, the acceptance, but also the practicality of the hands-on usage of it.
That's a great way to wrap. Thank you for your insights, for sharing with us. Fascinating conversation. Love to have you back sometime. So
yeah, I enjoyed it. Thanks, Chris. I'll come back.
Great. Thanks, Gene.
Thank you.